Well, the question on how can the state help stabilize the cities and towns from a revenue stream over the next several years is a good question, and probably the most important question we have right now. I think every mayor, every town manager or select person that I've spoken with agrees that we need to know well ahead of time what our revenue is going to be. It is extremely difficult to adjust mid-game or mid-fiscal year, and it brings about a lot more harm than if we knew 6 months, a year ahead of time as to exactly what kind of money we're going to get. Give us a variance of a few percent here or there. Let us work our way through it, which means that you have to have a stable formula for local aid that is either going to be your rock bottom formula, or there are going to be some untouchables that absolutely are going to be funded no matter what. Now, the governor this past year tried to do that with Chapter 70 money, and we all appreciate that. Chapter 70 money basically runs our school systems. But the fact is that I also think they need to do that with public safety money. There needs to be a public safety foundation, just like there's an educational foundation, especially in the cities of Massachusetts. So there has to be a base number for police, a base number for fire, a base number for ambulance service, a base number for education. And then we can work from there. If I know people band together in the earliest times of civilization for mutual protection, if I know that I can protect the people of my city, keep them safe, then I think good things happen. If I have a question about that, whether it's police, fire, ambulance, then it becomes a major problem to be able to sell the city as a place that you would want to raise your family, bring a business, grow a business, whatever it might be. The other thing that's important is school systems, obviously. I need to know on a regular basis exactly what kind of aid I can expect to educate our kids. I need to know that if I have mandates from the state that have to be met, then I need to make certain that the state's going to have the money to allow us to do that. The unfunded mandates become hypocritical goals set by someone who doesn't understand what it takes to meet those goals. So I think that what we really need to see right now, if local aid, to stabilize local aid, we have to know the components of it, but two components we have to be able to count on. One is public safety, the other is education.
Besides providing local aid to cities and towns, there are a number of things that the state could do that would immediately help cities and towns. I'm just going to talk about a few, the big ones, the ones that are millions of dollars, because we're seeing millions of dollars in state aid cuts, so therefore we don't just need a series of small fixes, we need some major changes. So there's a couple of things that can happen that would actually help. From a budgeting standpoint, healthcare is one of the biggest costs. So in the city of Fitchburg, it's about 13% of our city budget, which is pretty significant, and it typically grows. You have something that's 13% of your budget, and in a good year, we say it's only increased by 7% versus 17%. With Proposition 2.5, and your revenue is only growing by so much. That's not good to have your biggest line item grow by that much. So one of the things that we're asking the state to do is to give us the same authority that the state has. The state right now has the ability to change plan design. By changing plan design, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad for anybody. For example, you could go to another plan that is better and cheaper. And by doing that, you can actually save both your employees' money, you can save the city or the state money. Right now, the cities and towns don't have the authority to change plan design for healthcare. So a lot of cities and towns, including Fitchburg, have specific plans written into union contracts. And when you have 17 bargaining units in the city of Fitchburg, that's a lot of contracts to go through and try and make some changes. Now, Fitchburg successfully made those changes. We actually formed a PEC called the Public Employee Commission. That's a common statute that the state allows a city to adopt, where what you do is you can take all of those 17 bargaining units and you can bargain with all of them at once. And then they vote, and then 70% of those unions, based on a weighted vote, if they vote in favor of it, then it's adopted. So we went through that process earlier this year. We saved $1.7 million per year in healthcare costs. So probably for one of the first times in the history of Fitchburg, not only did we not see single-digit or double-digit increases in healthcare, we actually saw healthcare actually go down. Actually, was less than the previous year. So saving $1.7 million, thankfully, again, the unions were on board, but if the state allowed this to happen by right, then I could just go in and do it and then not have to waste time, legal expenses. And also, not every city and town is lucky. Some have tried to do this and been unsuccessful. So that's the top one. The second one is just looking at school transportation. I know this is a hot button issue right now. School transportation is a budget buster for both regional school districts and public school districts, and certainly cities and towns. It is an expense that is not reimbursed. At one point it was. So by picking up this cost, it costs the city close to $4 million. That's 4% of the city budget, just based on transportation. And we've also seen that the transportation piece, even though it's related to the schools, it's not eligible for net school spending. So that's another sort of budget squeeze. But the school budget goes up, the transportation budget goes up, local aid for non-school services goes down. So it really does put a stress on the non-school parts of the budget. So potentially allowing for transportation to be eligible for net school spending, not necessarily providing for more dollars, will help a city or town be more flexible in where it chooses to spend its dollars. So that's a second way to help. And then a third way to help is to reform the pension system, and I could go on and on about that, but the pension system is something that I think everybody is facing right now. It's cities and towns, the state, private businesses, and it's really something that is going to be potentially bankrupting cities and towns sometime in the future, because it is ballooning in terms of its costs. So the state really needs to take a look at how to have pension reform and keep those costs down.
The thing that I think that the state should do more of is give us more flexibility in terms of management. The classic example of that is in the area of health insurance. We offer right now, Lowell is one of the only communities left that offers master medical. It's really a dinosaur in terms of health insurance. Getting the unions to agree to eliminate that, to move away from that, has been a real battle, a real challenge for us. The state has the power of plan design. They can make their own decisions regarding health insurance for the state employees. We're looking for something very similar at the local level. That has the potential to save us a couple $1 million. And getting the legislature, getting the state government to understand that this isn't a management versus labor issue. It's a taxpayer issue that we need to save money and deliver services. It's not going to affect the health care of our employees and our retirees, but it's a management tool that we need. We need similar flexibility in terms of procurement, personnel management, really allow us to manage. I think people really expect that, demand that of us, but we need the ability to do it from the state. The laws and regulations of the state govern how we operate, and they need to sort of unleash us to do the job that we're there to do. Certainly some economic development incentive programs would be very helpful to us as well. The City of Lowell has been very active with other cities, certainly in the Middle Cities Initiative of the Pioneer Institute, but also the Gateway Cities effort with Mass Inc., efforts at historic preservation, tax incentives that can put buildings back online for more economic activity, programs to help us get people to relocate or come back into the city. These cities like Lowell and so many others have really been the central hub of their regions economically, and we need to restore that. We've got the basics of the infrastructure there. We need the tools from the state to maximize those, and it's good smart growth policy, it's good economic development policy, and it really will help those cities. So issues like that, management capabilities, are really what the state could do in these difficult times when they don't have necessarily the resources to hand over to cities.